I have known Dr. Sam Lanzafames during his Argosy journey, his own doctoral journey. It's been my pleasure to watch him as a student. And one of the things we do as we are trying to select a keynote speaker each time is find somebody that we know will understand your journey. Because let's face it, we know your family and friends don't always get it, do they? I mean, you tell them you're in school, and then a little while later, you're still in school? You're doing what? You're writing what? And so you don't always get the support that you deserve when people don't quite understand what that journey is about. Likewise, we want somebody energetic who's going to mimic what we have planned for you the weekend, the enthusiasm that we want to have for you this weekend, while not misleading you into thinking that it's just all, just one big easy piece of cake. Because you're going to have your challenges, but you're going to succeed, you're going to get through them. So who better than an Argosy alumnus that could let you know what that journey is all about. So Dr. Sam Lanzafames, or Dr. Sam as a lot of us call him, is a dedicated educator who's devoted his life to creating a learning environment that's thought-provoking, honest, respectful, and fun. He's spent the last 32 years teaching at the college level, and he currently teaches at 4 institutions: Colorado Technical University and Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design in Colorado, Monroe Community College in Rochester, New York, and Bryant and Stratton College in Rochester, New York. Dr. Lanzafames has also written accounting courses for Colorado Tech and for Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. And last year, he earned the Faculty Award for Instructional Excellence from Bryant and Stratton. I believe it was the first they presented, was it not? Let's give him a hand for that. Dr. Sam earned his own bachelor's degree in accounting from Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York, his master's degree in education from Nazareth College in Rochester, New York, and of course his doctorate of business and administration from Argosy University. I believe also in accounting, correct? Yep. Sam has 4 children, 3 grandchildren, including twin girls. And in his free time, as if he has it, teaching in 4 universities, he plays soccer, enjoys movies, and is a fan of superhero movies, and he's a die-hard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Whoop, whoop. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sam Lanzafames.
Some Steelers fans. Well, welcome. Thank you for that warm welcome. I really appreciate it. This is very exciting for me. When Dr. Wynn asked me to be the keynote speaker, I was completely overwhelmed. I was like, oh my God, this is great. This is a great experience and a great honor to be able to do something like this. Back in October, I was a poster presenter, and it was just an honor to be here for that as well. Just to be able to give back and know what it's like to sit in those seats. I remember being in Residency 1 and just looking around going, oh my God, I don't know if I can pull this off. Yes, I can. No, I can't. Yes, I can. Just this constant debate that was going on in my head. And I was telling some other people earlier how it was so cool to see the students that I was in class with, just seeing their name every time when a new course would start and doing discussion boards, and then actually meeting them face to face at these residencies was such a cool thing. And we bonded, we got to know each other. Sometimes we went out to lunch depending on the opportunity, and we networked, and we got a chance to really know who each other were. And the networking opportunity was unbelievable as well. In fact, one of the colleges that Dr. Wynn was talking to you about that I'm associated with, Rocky Mountain College Art and Design, that came about because of somebody I met here. Who would have ever thought that an opportunity could arise from something like that? And at that time, the lady that I had met, she was a doctoral candidate. We were both in Residency 1. She wasn't associated with education at the time, but her life kind of changed into going towards the education route. I think she got her doctorate a year before I got mine. And out of the blue, she contacted me and she's like, don't you teach accounting or something like that? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, I'm now working for Rocky Mountain College, and I was wondering if you would be interested in maybe writing an accounting course for us. And I'm like, yeah. And I go, what's going on there? She's like, we have this horrible retention. All these art students don't like math and accounting, and they like to drop out. I'm like, I've heard that before. And I go, well, I would love to do it under one condition. And she's like, what's that? She's like, I want to do it my way. And she's like, what's your way? I go, well, if we're going to do these online college classes, I want to be able to introduce some live classroom sessions so students can actually attend them, and if they can't make them, they can watch the recording. And she's like, oh, that's kind of different. I'm like, yeah, and I think it'll work. So basically the idea, which is also my dissertation, is to try to get the online students to kind of have a little ground experience in their online education. So in other words, you know how you guys are when you're taking a class, you get the module, this is what you got to do, here's your assignment, good luck, right? Have fun. And at our level, I think it's probably a little bit more doable to do something like that, but at an undergrad or even associate's level, telling an accounting student who's never taken an accounting class to learn debits and credits on their own, good luck, right? So the idea behind this was to kind of create an environment where, yes, the students still do the stuff online, but at the same time, they now have an opportunity to join a live session once a week. So if you're a really good student, you may not need to do something like that, and that's cool. So it's not like it's a mandatory thing, because we know online is supposed to be flexible. Don't put me into a pigeonhole, I don't want to do that, right? So the idea was originally kind of tough for a lot of online institutions to kind of grasp, because that's the whole point of online, to be flexible. Not making a student go to a certain class at a certain time and all that kind of stuff. So make it optional, and the students that want to participate, they can. And if they don't want to participate, they don't have to. And what we discovered was this, prior to the study, there was only about a 27% retention rate for these students in accounting, trying to teach themselves. And after we introduced this live session, and by the way, if they couldn't make the live session, it was recorded, so they can watch it at a later time. Basically, bringing the YouTube generation concept to the online environment, because half the time people do that anyways, right? I mean, I lived on YouTube and, Google and all those other areas for so many different subjects. And including a couple times I had to Google something or go on YouTube to help me with a doctoral thing. Doing something in Excel, which I'm really good at, but then also on one assignment I had to do a pivot table. The heck is a pivot table? I've never had to use that before. Thank goodness for YouTube, That was like 8 years ago or something like that. Can I do a pivot table now? No. But I could then. I could figure out for the assignment. You have to kind of deal with it as it comes along. Get older, you kind of forget some stuff, But the idea behind the live chats was really cool. And what we discovered is that once the students participated in those live chats, we saw like a 73% retention as opposed to 27%. So, it was a really cool study. We had no idea how it was going to really turn out. I had an inkling, but not for sure. And I implemented that at Rocky Mountain, and we're seeing like out of 20 students that attend the class, maybe 18 or 19 are finishing. So it's working, So it's cool to be able to take a study and actually put it into real application and have it be effective. So, to me, what you're doing is so important, and there's so many different arenas that you're in, so many different ideas that are floating in your head. And believe me, those ideas are going to change along the way. You're going to have certain ideas, I think I want to do this, and then all of a sudden you start presenting it, you start talking to other people like, that might not be such a good paper or a good topic. How about this? Or how about that? And I think through this experience, you really grow so much. My favorite part of the entire Argosy experience was the residencies. This was it. This was like such a cool thing. Meeting people, going to the different sessions, meeting the teachers, the professors. It's just amazing. But I gotta tell you, my favorite thing and the thing that meant the most to me was the R&Rs. Have you guys heard of those yet? Anybody in here? Okay, you might at some point, if you start struggling with some of your dissertation, that paper that you're writing, even maybe thinking of a topic. Well, I remember my first module of the dissertation process. I was ready to go, I thought I was ready to go, and then I started, and then I just started spinning my wheels. And I was like, just hitting a wall. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never gonna be able to figure this out. All of a sudden, I just lost my way in terms of what I wanted to do. Because I thought I had it, but all of a sudden I was like, it's not working. So in the email or in the announcement section through my classroom, there was this thing called an R&R. And it said, anybody wants to kind of rejuvenate. I can't remember the exact language that was used, but it was something like, if you need some help, extra help with your dissertation, come to this R&R. And I think later today, some of those students will actually be here as well. So we'll have Residency 1 students here, Residency 2, and R&R students. Well, I'm telling you, that R&R completely changed my life, right? And I have to say, Dr. Wynn had such an impact on my life that I call her my academic angel. Oh. It's true. It's so true, because she put me on a path, because she gave me this one-on-one attention and literally sat down with me and as if she was like part of me, and she cared so much. I just was like, oh my God. I really felt like academically loved. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And she literally sat down with me and worked through my paper, my first chapter, and helped me kind of like get on the right path. And it was the best weekend I've ever had in my life in terms of knowing exactly what I was supposed to do. And I have to thank Dr. Wynn for that, so let's get If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd probably still spinning my wheels, But that was a crazy kind of a crazy experience traveling, by the way, that weekend, but it was so worth it. One day, if you want to sit down and take a half hour and hear what happened to me that weekend, be insane. Anyways, so the journey, how I got here is kind of interesting, other than the R&R, that part that really helped me to do the dissertation properly. But, passion goes a long way. And once you find your topic and you're passionate about it, you're halfway home. That really is the key. Because if you're like, I think I'll write about this, it's just not going to work for you. You have to have that passion. You have to find something you really, really can buy into. And for me, being a teacher, I've always had that inkling of wanting to help and wanting to make a difference. And that's why my study, even though I got my DBA, it was still kind of like partially education-oriented and partially business-oriented. So, I wanted to do something in education. They kept saying, well, this is a DBA. You're not in education. So I had to kind of make sure that it had a DBA flavor, so I had to focus on retention. Ding, key word. Now it's kind of business related, because schools are very into retention, because if you can't retain students, guess what? Yeah, exactly. So, your class sizes go down, enrollment's decreasing, next thing you know, the school's in trouble. Numbers are the name of the game. So we got to find a way to keep students, we got to find a way to retain them, we got to find a way to engage them and have them really into what they're learning. And it has to do with the teacher as well. So if the teacher can somehow engage those students in a different manner, add a little extra, I think sometimes that can go a long way. I'm going to go back years and years ago. My first experience as a college student, I got yelled at for asking a question. First day of college, I was taking an accounting class, and I'd never taken accounting in high school, so I had no idea what accounting was. Not a clue, I knew it was something related to business, so I figured, let me try this. So the teacher, first day, crusty old guy, you know, just, that's the way he talked. He had a cigar in his hand, was unlit, and he was the department head, so it's like you can't even complain because it's the first person you gotta go to. So first day, he's opening the textbook and says, everybody turn to page 3. That's the way he talked. And so we're all looking, and he's like, this is an income statement, and in an income statement you have revenues and expenses, blah, 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 right? So I sat in the front row. I always sat in the front row. I don't know why. I just did. And so I raised my hand because I was really excited, but I was really interested to know. I go, in that income statement, I see the word expenses followed by a colon, and then underneath it's indented telephone expense, rent expense, utilities expense, insurance expense, depreciation expense. So I'm like, do you have to write the word expense after each expense account if the heading is called expenses? This is what he does. Of course that's what you do. Like, I'm like, oh my God. I just got yelled at for asking a question in college. I was blown away. And if there wasn't a puddle underneath me after getting yelled at, someone going, oh, right? Not one person or I, the rest of the semester, ever asked a question. Nobody wanted to feel this small like I did the first day. So I had no intentions of ever being a teacher. But at that moment, it was like, oh my God, I'll probably never be as smart as this guy. But if I ever get a chance to do what he does, I'm gonna make sure that I respect students and give them the opportunity. If they don't know, please ask. And that kind of led me in this path that I didn't even know I was on. It was kind of interesting. So about a year later, I was forced to go to an education club meeting that I had no desire. All I wanted to do was play Donkey Kong and Ms. Pac-Man and Pac-Man. That were the big games then, just to kind of give you an idea. And my girlfriend at the time, who ended up becoming my wife.
Not me.
But, of course. But anyways, throw that. That we take. Anyways, she convinced me to go to a meeting with her, and I'm like, I just want to play games, you know, I'm not interested. She's like, I don't want to go home. I'm like, all right, so I went. So I sat in this meeting of this education club meeting, and it was all these alumni teachers that were coming back, that graduated from Lemoyne College, and they were talking about their experiences as high school teachers. So I'm sitting there listening to each one. It was like a panel, like 7 or 8 teachers. And the last person was an accounting teacher who had graduated from the college. And all of a sudden, my ears really perked up, and he started talking about his experience as, you know, going to school and struggling with the accounting program, like me, you know, at the time. But at the same time, he found this excitement of teaching. And by the time he got done speaking, my life changed. For the first time, it really changed because I still get goosebumps. The hairs on, you know, it's crazy because I can still remember going, I know what I'm supposed to do in my life. It's not supposed to be an accountant, not supposed to be a computer science major like I started. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be a teacher. I'm gonna be poor. That's true. I teach at 4 schools. But, you know, truthfully, I am poor. But, thank you for, you know, letting me come here. Anyways, but that changed my life. That day, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I had never had any inkling up until that point. It was like, so that experience, you know, when I've been asked to run clubs, you know, as a teacher through the years of being an educator, I always jumped at it because I knew how important it is, how it altered my life. And as a teacher, I put everything into my classes. My students know when they come into my class that, you know, they're getting me 100%. And what's interesting, not every student succeeds in my class, even though I try as hard as I can to make sure that happens. But I've never had a student who failed my class come up to me and say, it's your fault. They always come up to me and say, I'm sorry. It wasn't you. And that always meant so much to me. I was like, oh my God, these students are apologizing to me for failing. So, you know, to me, they know my passion, they know my excitement, they know I will go out of my way to make sure that they succeed. And if they don't succeed, it's on them, and they know that. I don't say that to them, they say that to me. So, it's amazing how passion can take you from all different levels to changing your life, to having people change your life, experiencing their passion, you know, wanting to help people. And all I can say is to have the opportunity to give back in a situation like this is nothing. I love to do this. I can do this all the time to help people. And to have people come up and ask questions and see how nervous some of you are and wondering, can I do this? Yeah, you can. You know, I know it's an old cliche. If I can do it, you can do it, but it's true. All right? It's true. And if you want it, you go get it. Don't let anybody stop you. Okay? Thank you.